2018 in Europe. This is the vExpert Daily, show where we grab a few vExperts, talk about yesterday's events, some of today's events, and tomorrow's events. Keep you informed and updated on what's happening and how to get you folks into the broader V community. So thanks for joining us. On the panel, we had a great panel today, lots of people today, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves and we'll go from there. Amit?
Great. My name's Amit Panchal, working in the UK. You can find me on Twitter at Amit Panchal76, and I work for Delhi MC.
Great.
I'm Ather, A-T-H-E-R-B-E-G, and my Twitter handle is basically my name, Ather. I'm a solutions architect at Rackspace in the enterprise solutions architecture team. vExpert for many years, vExpert NSX as well.
Oh, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I've been part of the first class as well.
That's fantastic.
For many years now, so quite proud of that.
Great.
Hey, I'm Gina Rosenthal, or Gina Minx. Confusing, I know, but my Twitter name is gminx. I work for VMware. I'm a product marketing manager for vSphere. I spend a lot of time with Dell. I'm super interested in AI. Talk about that later.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Gina.
Hi, I'm Gareth Edwards. Follow me on Twitter at GarethEdwards86. I've been a vExpert for a couple of years, and if any of you are interested in becoming a vExpert, do reach out, as I just found out recently I'm a vExpert Pro, so I'm there to help the community. Thank you. So if any of you got any questions about how to become a vExpert or get involved in the community, do reach out and I'll happily mentor you along the way.
And I can't believe there's 85 other of you. You said you're Gareth Edwards 86, right?
Yeah, that's
wow.
It should be 85.
There's a lot of people out there.
I think there's less than 20, isn't there, for the vExpert Pro? There's not many of us out there. So again, but we're out there. We want to get out there, involve the community, grab people. Again, I've had a few people approach me to say, well, how do I get started? So do feel free to reach out.
And before, maybe we'll touch on, so I think some of the audience might not be familiar with vExpert Pro program, as well as the different specialties like the NSX. So we'll touch on that, get you folks informed on that so you can get involved and join the community. So with that, I wanted to just start, because I know yesterday we had a few announcements, and I want to just get your take on yesterday's announcements, the big one being Heptio, and what your thoughts are. Anything come to mind on that?
You go.
I thought it was a great announcement. I'm excited. I'm excited for the folks that are there to be part of VMware again, especially being at VMware.
Right.
I think it was a great announcement.
So yeah, I just thought, so Heptio is showing VMware's focus on cloud native a lot more now. Obviously, the Kubernetes ecosystem is growing a lot. So embedding that within the organization and growing it out and realizing the potential of that orchestration layer and taking it to like new places, I think that's going to be like a game changer. In the next year, we're going to see a lot of integration points, as usual, with a go-to-market. And it's going to be, it's going to be phenomenal for growth in that cloud native space at the end of the day.
Any thoughts?
So yeah, I think it's great. I'll probably segue into another one, but it's great seeing that enterprise container ready state. You know, we've got the AI stuff out there, and for me, it's interesting because you can do a lot of IoT edge with that Kubernetes.
Ah, okay.
And then you can process data, spin up your containers, process it, spit it out, but you don't take all that raw data with you. And again, the sneaky announcement for me was the Raspberry Pis on ESXi and Raspberry Pis. Is that, well, if you could combine the two, you've got HA little container out there that could be a really cool use case for certain applications.
I just want to, another announcement I thought was really good was that there's a beta now for Project Dimension. So talking about the edge and all the rest of it. So if you want to test it out and check it out, you're able to do it now, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I was just going to say Project Concord too, right? So that was around the blockchain use case, and you know, obviously, I think VMware still are finding their feet with that, and that's very much a work in progress. But the demonstrations I saw yesterday that their partners have delivered using VMware's open source code for blockchain, it's going to be a real enterprise grade, secure, auditable enterprise class blockchain, right? And no one's yet really done that in earnest. So it's going to be interesting how that evolves over time.
Right. And sorry, before you start, Arthur, do any of you today do anything with containers? Like, are you into containers, Kubernetes at the moment?
So myself personally, I don't do anything with containers. I know a lot of my customers are dabbling, and not really got anything in production yet, but it's of interest, right? To all the kind of DevOps folk and all the developers. So yeah.
And I think I don't do a lot with containers because, of course, I'm a product marketer, so I talk to a lot of people. And I think that story, as it's developing for VMware, is really incredible. A lot of the stuff I do with machine learning, deep learning, and AI, traditionally HPC types of environments have been all bare metal, completely can virtualize those. But folks doing and running those kind of jobs, machine learning, deep learning, are running them via containers.
Okay.
And it's interesting to start talking to those folks. Well, if you pair that with vSphere, containers are inherently without all of these management systems around them, which is why the announcement yesterday was so exciting and pivotal, why it's so important. But all bare metal, not having that is inherently insecure, very hard to manage. So pairing that with vSphere, which is what all of these things do, brings the manageability and the security to a container platform where you're able to have a cloud-like environment, a true private cloud on-prem. So.
I think I just wanted to add that I'm very interested in containers, but also Kubernetes in general. Because multi-cloud is becoming more and more prevalent. And the mobility between the clouds is very important, and Kubernetes provides that. But also getting more interest into, say, mechanisms like service mesh, Istio, because a lot of developers had these issues with, okay, when they're developing the application, you also think about, how I'm going to provide monitoring into that, how I'm going to provide authentication, all those kind of things. Taking that away from the developer and moving it to a service mesh, which can then be multi-platform. So it's not just VMware, actually. You can have hosted anywhere, and it has agents for all of them. And that takes away that extra baggage that the application had to carry. So those kind of technologies, VMware is also getting into them, and that's a very exciting prospect, I think.
I'm curious to ask the panel here, and maybe the audience might be curious, but what I'm hearing from you folks is the sort of the traditional IT sysadmin architect role might be changing slightly. Would you agree with that? I mean, with the introduction of like the containers, Kubernetes, and all this, the cloud native you mentioned earlier. I mean, a few buzzwords here, but I think we all get the gist of it. Do you see like the role changing a bit?
Yeah, I can hit that straight on the head. It was actually one of the talks I did yesterday and doing again today, all about Terraform. I'm doing more in inverted brackets DevOps style sysadmin these days. I'm writing stuff as code, infrastructure as code. We were saying then about containers. You know, we're already looking at decoupling our apps for scale. So, you know, how do we look at those apps and break those apart? Can we scale our database? Can we scale the app? Can we scale the web tier? So, it's, you know, for me, it's very interesting times because we all grew up in the age of you deployed a server, you know, even with, I'm going to use probably a bad word here and show my age, Alteris back in the day, you know, proper infrastructure as code. That's what infrastructure as code was to me, is building a physical blade that I slotted in and built it from the ground up. And this is just taking it that one step further and adding that decoupling to a cloud or, you know, your data center. So it's quite interesting for me.
I think one of the things that has to happen, especially when you think about the data is going to be, the data gravity is real. So we're trying to figure out how do we move compute to the data. We have to do that by doing this scale out and writing this code and being very, very composable and being able to stretch it across clouds and every place else. And I think right now, because of the hype around DevOps, we think of that as being developers. But I mean, I was a sysadmin. I wrote Kickstart servers and Jumpstart servers. I wrote the code for all of that for it to be automated. That was my automation back in the day, so I'm definitely aging myself. But like, we've always done that as sysadmins. But the other thing is we also know how important protecting the data is, how important being able to audit the data is. All of this is important. So now we're getting to this place where, okay, we're going to make this platform that the developers can go and develop the applications on, but we're going to make sure that that data stays secure. We're able to bring it back if something happens. We're able to do all of the things that make the platform available all the time for the developers. I think it's just a transformation of what we've always done. I wish I had these tools, back when I was a sysadmin. It's so much nicer.
And I think, the new paradigm of having all these control mechanisms and the ecosystems growing with more, say, service mesh that I was talking about, that taking away that pain that the developer has to able. Infrastructure is not their world. They are developers, right?
Right.
They need to focus on that. And you move all those operational responsibilities to the operation guys. And these kind of clearly defined definitions and that what they need to do, development of those tools are becoming prevalent is absolutely wonderful, I think.
Good. And did you have anything to add?
No.
Oh, good. That's all right.
Go for it.
That's all right. And I know, just to switch channels here for a minute. I know, Arthur, you were on a NSX
NSX briefing this morning.
Can you share with folks a little bit about it?
That was very interesting because that Velo Cloud has just been acquired by VMware and SD-WAN. Software-defined networking. If you translate that into a WAN environment, that becomes SD-WAN, right? And Velo Cloud is the leader of it. One of the problems that has always been there in traditional environments is, as you know, that lease lines and MPLS is used to connect remote environments.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to manage those or deploy infrastructure into those remote branch offices. And with audio, video conferencing, and all those kinds of things, the networks are not built for that or weren't built for that. And they're very static, difficult to implement. What Velo Cloud or NSX SD-WAN, for example, does is to have all these channels, be it LTE or internet or anything, that actually provides you with that background and transport agnostic, which basically means that you can utilize all those channels to transfer your traffic. So the briefing was about that.
Right.
I would say that if you're not familiar with that technology, you should get on, have a look, because that's an absolutely brilliant product. It will change quite a lot of things.
Right.
Make connectivity basically ubiquitous and reliable using many channels.
Did you want to touch on also that you're doing a NSX, and I might have this wrong,
NSX roving reporter.
Roving reporter?
Today
Maybe explain to the folks what that is.
I am an NSX roving reporter today. If you are around at VMworld, find the VMTN, VMware Code booth. This is the orange booth. Go to the end of it. Next to the Tech Confessions booth, we'll be there. If you have a few minutes, 3, 5, 7 minute chat about NSX security, I'll be there and I'll be happy to speak to you about that.
Right, great way to learn more, get more involved with NSX in particular. Any other? I just wanted to open it up to the rest of the group. Any other activities that you participated in yesterday, today, that maybe some of the folks here didn't know was happening?
I think a lot of people missed a really good session that me and Gareth were at yesterday on artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay.
And that was hosted by Joe Bagley and Professor Brian Cox. And that explored the real visionary things that are out there, like in the next 20 to 50 years, perhaps, maybe even longer.
Right.
But it was very eye-opening. Gets away from infrastructure and technology, but applies how we're going to do more automation, what we can't automate, what we can, how are human-machine partnerships going to be created, and not necessarily be an autonomous driver in one camp or another. Eye-opening stuff, very, very cool. Yeah.
So speaking of that, I have a session tomorrow. It's at 9 o'clock in the morning. It'll be worth it. You should come. It's about AI from the perspective of, what is AI? Is it hype? Is it a bunch of marketing nonsense? What is it? What should you pay attention to as an enterprise architect? What should you listen to? Because there are definitely things you can do with vSphere to help your organizations out if they're trying to get into AI, machine learning, deep learning, HPC, any of that. So we'd love to talk to you about it.
I would like to mention one more thing in the sense that, the VMTN, VMware Code booth.
Yes.
Orange booth. if you are at VMware watching this, come to that. Bloggers table is here. That's always the best place to come, meet people. All vExperts are always happy, or other people, bloggers.
You don't need to be a blogger, right?
You don't need
anyone
to be a
can
blogger.
Yeah.
Just come over, say hi. Everyone is very happy to meet you all and have a chat. So do that.
Great.
While you're here.
Good point. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just to kind of add on from these guys is, I'd certainly say rewatch. I hope they recorded it, 'cause it's definitely worth watching. But it was that bit where, again, that assumption of AI and what levels of AI there are. The learning AI and how does it understand intelligence? When they said, well, we could send a rocket out for, is it 100 years? They reckon would be the closest one
to the next
get 100
galaxy.
years to get to. Yeah. But by that point, how far has AI and compute and everything come on in that time, and how can it distinguish intelligence? And then you suddenly think, wow, well, actually, that's right. And then again, we're talking about containers and things like that. Is that what will be running on this thing that would ensure that it would be living or have its own intelligence in 100 years? And how would that evolve in its own right? So again, it was quite eye-opening, quite different. But yeah, it's certainly well worth watching.
And these are terms, again, going back to my earlier point, that I don't think maybe 3 to 5 years ago, as IT architects, infrastructure people, we really had to deal with, right? We were more worried, all of us here in the audience, we were worried more about upgrades and patches. Now we're throwing out terms like AI. It's like, whoa, machine learning. Oh, wow.
Yeah, machine learning, deep learning. And the thing to use as a stereotypical IT admin is probably, they just want a massive, great machine, or how much is that going to damage a credit card? Yeah. And actually, sometimes it isn't. It's about that pure compute, maybe for seconds, and that's all it is.
So a couple of things. One thing that I think is crazy, so I was an HPC admin back in the day. It was one of the things I did. No virtualization at the time. So now I'm talking to these people that are IT admins that are doing all of this work with deep learning. They've never really worked with vSphere, and the fact that we can vMotion VMs that have virtual GPUs attached to them, they've never seen vMotion. So think of being able to talk to somebody that's never seen that before, and it's crazy. And then get to the point where you were talking that we are still have to be worried about the platform and the versions and everything else. But I mean, I think it's kind of cool that my platform, the product I work on, vSphere, you think about vSphere Platinum tying together a SaaS application with vSphere for security is. Who would have ever thought that VMware would do something like that, right?
Yeah. Exciting times ahead, that's for sure. I wanted to give you folks an opportunity. Yesterday, the panel, I gave them an opportunity to share with the audience and the viewers on, are there ways that folks can get connected and involved in the virtual community, the V community, as we, call it on Twitter, #VCommunity. Are there ways that people here can get more involved? Not only here at the show, but even beyond the show. I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to speak to that and maybe shed some light on that.
Yeah, I can say that personally, I've been blogging for about almost a decade now. That's how you normally get into it. And many people think that, whatever problem I've had is probably small enough and not worth sharing. As you have problems, you just take screenshots, just make notes. That automatically creates a great blog post. And don't think that nobody will have their problem. If you had the problem, everyone else maybe
that's the key.
Had that problem, right? Just share it, and if nothing else, it'll be your point of view. You can do similar. You can have a chain of blogs, and you don't just have to be a blogger. You can do podcasts. You can get involved in community chats. Have a chat at the bloggers table. Get yourself introduced. There are many ways of sharing your knowledge. Do that because the community needs you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, the great thing for the blog tables is sticker swap.
Right.
If you have a brand, or that's how we're now kind of the terminology, just go up, steal some stickers, and ask questions about it. Like as you said, podcasting. I think that's where three of us have now really kind of evolved. Is we're part of a podcast, the Open Tech Cast. So do come grab us. We don't bite, and we just want to hear what you have to say. We like putting a fun spin on it. We're not serious. But that is another great way of getting your message out there now. It doesn't have to be written. You can do a video blog or a podcast. Just get even a snippet of audio out there or a few shots from around the show and feedback your thoughts. That's where it can start now. Yeah,
that's a great point. I did a short blog on how to make friends at a conference, and one of the easiest things, because you don't want to be alone at a conference of 13,000 or 20,000 people. This is the V community. We're all here for one another. one of the easy ways is just to get some stickers done and just start sharing them at the bloggers table, and you'll be surprised at how many conversations get started just by sharing stickers and you know, somebody commenting on how cool yours looks, etc., etc. Just a simple little thing to do that you should consider it.
So one thing I'd say is, and this is from being from a vendor, being from VMware, go to the booths. I'm a product marketer, but I'm not your average product marketer, obviously, and all of my colleagues are the same way. We know our products really, really well. If you have a question about anything to do with vSphere, go to the booth, because there's product marketers and there's also product managers. If you have something specific about a product, there's somebody probably that owns that product from a VMware point of view that can answer your question or we'll get back to you. I'm also in the Dell booth helping out, so like just go. We send either, usually for this show, it's a lot of people from the field in EMEA that we have here manning the booth. So just go up, just don't grab the swag, ask somebody a question, and talk to people. Just if you're in a session or eating lunch, introduce yourself. And it's kind of weird and hard at first, and I'm really outgoing, so this might be bad advice for everybody else, but like just smile and say hi and meet somebody, even if it's just hi. That little bit of connection is great. And my DMs are open, not everybody's are. I'm on the road for the next 2 weeks, so if I don't get back to you, it's not because I'm being rude, but like just reach out. If you have a question about anything anybody writes or says or does, ask them. We're all here together. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And you said after the conference, right? So this is we talked about during the conference just now, but I think there should be a good onus for people to go to these meetups, chapter meetings, national meetings, all that kind of thing. And I was talking to some VMware users yesterday at an event, and they never go to any vMugs at all. And I said, why is that? And they just didn't see it of value. So it's surprising that there is still a lot of customers out there that don't think it's going to bring them value, and it brings value instantly the first time you go. So go to your local vMug, go to tech meetups, because there are like hundreds and thousands focused on specific niches that you're interested in. So yeah.
I have a quick shameless plug to do. Open TechCast. We and Alex and Kev, we do Open TechCast. So when we go to events, we
that's a podcast.
That's a podcast.
So these three folks do a podcast weekly, right? Or you try weekly.
At least monthly. But also when we go to events like this, we normally find opportunities to interview people. So those are special episodes of ours, and we have short sessions of chat. So again, next to where we'll be doing tech conventions and NSX Roving Reporter, we'll probably camp out there at some point, or just find one of us and just set up a time when we can have a chat.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity to get involved, folks, is to jump on the Open Tech podcast. Great great way to get involved. I will, if we're talking about podcasts, I will also plug, I run the Nutanix community podcast, so another way to get involved and sort of broaden your view on the V community.
Wait, unplug my podcast.
Yes. We all got podcasts.
I do Wide World of Tech with James Honey and Kong Yang, and we talk a lot about more of the professional social issues with tech, and a lot about sports. A lot about sports.
Great.
So hopefully I'll just add on to all that is the one thing I always say is there is never a stupid question going to yours or even to us. You know, come ask us a question. We don't bite. And even last night I asked what I thought was a stupid question to a few of the guys at the UK&I party, and it actually inspired someone. They've already gone off to speak back to the BU to go, that is such a cool idea to try. And I thought, well, actually, I'm not being stupid. It is someone else out there think that's a good idea. You know, do go ask your product managers what you think. I think, as I said, it begins with you. Possible begins with you. And unless someone comes up with that idea, it's not going to be out there.
Right. Yeah, great point. And I know we touched on it earlier. We'll go back to it, but you mentioned earlier that you're a vExpert Pro.
Yeah.
So maybe for the folks that don't know what that is, because I think that's new, maybe just to give them a summary of what it is.
So what it is it's basically they've chosen a few people in the community to hopefully evangelize what the vExpert program is, and it's kind of one of those things where they've seen people kind of grow from the program. You know, again, Val, he's sat at the back, no one can see him.
Val's in the back, yeah.
I know myself and him. If you saw me 10 years ago, as these guys know, I would never be stood here. I'd be somewhere hiding over there, probably not talking to anyone, staring at my coffee. And that's the power of the vExpert program, the V communities. It gets you out your shell. You learn that actually, I think the epiphany moment for me stood doing one of my first talks at the deep end was actually this is a group of people who want to hear me talk. They are sat here because they want to hear what I have to say, and it's getting sometimes over that mental barrier. But we're all here for each other, and there is so much support. And again, without a shameless plug, Virtual Design Master. Really
a lot of plugs in this show.
But to me, that was the true essence of vExpert and V community. I could go on that forum and go, I'm not quite sure how this works. Can someone just guide me a helping hand? And that's what I want to do with the vExpert program, is go out there, help those people. Even if it's presentation skills or personal skills. That is the whole thing. That's what we want to give back. Is it opening a conversation, anything like that.
Great.
I do have a specific email address. It's actually Gareth@vexpert.pro. So if you have any questions, pop it in there. It helps me flag my emails.
Sure. So that's great. So with that, we're going to wrap it up for this morning. Thank you for joining us. We can all be found on Twitter. I encourage you to if you see us in the halls, just to come by, say hi, or we may come by and say hi first. So with that, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day.